After Moses received the 10 Commandments on Mount Sinai, he slowly walked down the mountain with the 2 stone tablets in his hands. His face was calm, but below something terrible was happening. While Moses was gone for 40 days, the people grew impatient. They forgot God's mighty power. They forgot how he rescued them from Egypt, and they asked Aaron for a new god they could see with their eyes. So Aaron gathered their gold, melted it, and shaped it into a golden calf. The people cheered, they danced. They bowed down to the idol they created, but God saw everything from above. When Moses reached the camp and saw the people worshiping the golden calf, his heart broke. These were the same people God had saved. In anger and sadness, Moses threw down the stone tablets. They shattered at his feet. Then Moses burned the golden calf, crushed it into powder, and reminded the people that God alone is worthy of worship. The people felt ashamed. They knew they had sinned. They cried and begged for forgiveness. Moses climbed back up the mountain, this time not to receive laws, but to plead for the people's lives. "Lord," Moses prayed, "please forgive them. They have made a terrible mistake, but they are your people." And God, full of mercy, forgave them. He told Moses to prepare 2 new tablets. Once again, God wrote his commandments with his own hand. When Moses came down the mountain this time, something amazing happened. His face was shining bright like the sun, because he had been in the presence of God. The people were afraid at first, but Moses called to them gently. He taught them everything God had said, and slowly their hearts began to change. From that day on, Moses continued to lead the Israelites with wisdom, patience, and love, always guiding them back to the God who forgives, protects, and never gives up on his people. And that is the story of Moses after the 10 Commandments. A story that reminds us never to forget God, even when life feels slow, quiet, or confusing. After God forgave the Israelites and gave Moses the new stone tablets, he gave Moses a very important instruction. God said, "Build me a place, and a holy place where my presence can live among my people." This place was called the Tabernacle. Moses gathered all the people together and spoke with a strong, loving voice. God wants us to build a special house for him. Bring your gifts, whatever you have, from your heart. And the people began to bring their treasures: gold, silver, bronze, purple and blue cloth, animal skins, precious stones. They brought so much that Moses had to say, "Stop, we have more than enough." God also gave special wisdom to 2 men, Bezalel and Aholiab. Their hands became skilled like master builders. They shaped wood, hammered gold, carved designs, and stitched beautiful patterns. Slowly, the tabernacle began to take shape. They made the Ark of the Covenant, a golden chest to hold the 10 Commandments, the golden lampstand, shining with 7 flames, the altar, where offerings were given to God, curtains of purple, blue, and scarlet, with angels woven into them, the holy place and most holy place, where God's glory would rest. Every piece was made with careful hands and worshipful hearts. When everything was finished, Moses walked through the tabernacle. He touched the gold, the wood, the cloth, and he smiled. Everything was exactly the way God wanted. Then something amazing happened. A cloud came down from heaven, thick, bright, and full of glory. It covered the tabernacle completely. God's presence filled the entire camp. The people watched in awe. No one could enter, because God himself had come to live among them. From that day forward, when the cloud lifted, the Israelites moved. When the cloud stayed, they rested. God was no longer far away. He was with them, leading, guiding, and protecting every step of the way. And Moses continued the journey with them, trusting God with all his heart. And that is the story of the tabernacle, the beautiful place where God chose to live with his people. At last, they reached the edge of the promised land, the land God had promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It was finally within sight. God spoke to Moses and said, "Send men to explore the land I am giving to my people." So Moses chose 12 leaders, 1 from each tribe. Among them were 2 faithful men, Joshua and Caleb. The 12 spies marched into Canaan. For 40 days they climbed mountains, crossed valleys, and studied every city. They saw strong soldiers, high walls, and even giants. But they also saw rich land, flowing with milk and honey. They carried back huge clusters of grapes, so heavy that 2 men had to carry them on a pole. When the spies returned, the entire camp gathered to listen. The 10 spies began with fear in their voices. "The land is good, but the people are powerful. Their cities are large and well protected. We even saw giants. We cannot go in. We will lose," the crowd gasped. Fear spread quickly, but Caleb stepped forward with courage. We can take the land. God is with us, do not be afraid. Joshua added, the Lord will fight for us, trust him. But the people refused to listen. They cried all night and even said, we should go back to Egypt. Moses prayed, pleading for mercy. God listened, but he was sad that the people did not trust him after all the miracles he had done. So God said the Israelites would wander in the wilderness for 40 years. 1 year for every day the spies explored the land. Only Joshua and Caleb, the two who believed, would enter the promised land. The people were heartbroken. They realized their fear had cost them their future, and so instead of moving forward, the Israelites turned back into the wilderness. But even there, God stayed with them, guiding them, feeding them, and loving them through every step. And that is the story of the 12 Spies, a story that teaches us to trust God even when the road looks difficult. Thank you for watching Family Real TV. Please subscribe for more videos like this.